I'm like, hello, everybody. This is our podcast, Nameless for now. And yeah, you speak first because you're older.
Okay. So my name is Iasmin. In America, we say Yasmin.
Do you mean Yasmin?
Yasmin, yes. I was born and raised in Macau. Fun, exotic.
Amazing. Where's Macau?
Near Hong Kong. Dude, I always have to say that every time I meet someone new.
It's near Hong Kong. I was like, oh, so China?
Sure, whatever. And yeah, I've been here in America for 3 years now. 3 years.
2 years already, my God.
Yeah, 2 years. Lived in Connecticut for 2, in New York for 1.
Bam.
Bam.
Nice.
So you, who are you?
I, as well as you, from Macau.
What?
Yeah, like I am half Sri Lankan, half Filipino. Was born in Macau and moved here 2.5 years ago. And yeah, and Yasmin and I didn't even say my name. It's Fatima. If I was in America,
Fatima?
I say Fatima, but back where we're from, I would say, call me Pajella.
Pajella.
Well, to English speakers, my name was Pajella for some reason. And then my like for Asian speakers, I'll say, call me Fatima. I don't say
Fatima.
Fatima, because it's like my first name, Fatima.
Yeah. I forgot to mention my ethnicity too.
Yeah.
You said Filipino Sri Lankan, right? Like
exactly.
See, we have Filipino Sri Lankan. We're from Macau. And my dad's Filipino also.
Boom.
The Pinoy pride.
We make one Filipino.
And my mom is Brazilian.
Yes.
So that's all the culture in here.
The culture in the air. Whoop, whoop. Right all here. So a lot of culture shock as well,
Yes.
Obviously when we came to America, because America is such a special place, like especially coming from a special place like Macau.
Right.
I mean, how would you describe Macau? Like just a small ass place.
Yeah.
We met Macau when we were like 3, 4. We were friends since kindergarten.
Yes.
Kindergarten.
Among like all the Chinese students, Chinese little kids were like the only foreigners there, except for one. There was like Andrea too. I remember her.
Yeah, there was some like Portuguese sprinkled around too.
That's true.
Yeah, Macau was colonized by the Portuguese, so we do speak a bit of the Portuguese. I mean, you are half Brazilian. So you speak Portuguese because I don't speak Tagalog though, because at home they don't. My parents never really taught me. They're like, I don't want to confuse you, so we all speak English here. But then it's like broken English. Like I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Had to watch my movies. That's why everybody in America right now is like, oh my God, you sound so American.
Yeah, they're always shocked by like how good our English is or my English is. They're like, where did you learn your English? I'm like, I don't know.
How American our accents are.
Yeah.
Funny. But it's because it's the only accent we know, right? Like, I mean, that's what we were learning. Actually, we were learning American accent, but we were learning British English.
We were British English in school, and then like the locals in Macau or like in Hong Kong, they would say, no, you know how people hear the Chinese accent? It's like usually really strong Chinese accent, right? But for them, it's like, no, this is the British accent, because in school everything is like the British curriculum.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, this is not Chinese accent. This is the British accent.
That's true. Oh my God.
But yeah, for example, like fall, we say autumn.
Yeah, and then they would be like, you say they make
Autumn.
such a big deal about it here. If you say like one word that is the British way, and like
Yeah.
I think something called corridor, they say like hallway or something.
Hallway.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and I said corridor once, and then it's like, hey, corridor, like you know what I said, okay?
All right. Sharing food. I don't know if you had this issue, but like my very first I think this is I don't know if this is like a relationship type of differences or like the culture in general, but like when I like sit in McDonald's with my husband and we get fries and burgers, right, and a drink, normally what I do in Macau with friends, like we grab all the fries and we put them all in one tray. I don't know if you remember that.
Fair enough. Yes, I do remember that.
Sometimes do that, and this so the first time I ever like was shocked about this was that like when I did that, he was like, "What are you doing? Those are my fries," and I'm like, "What? We're sharing it. We're like kind of like because there's this thing right in Macau where like the food is in the middle, you have your own plate and rice, and then you
That's
kind of just
yeah.
like
That is how it is like in cha chan. I mean in like certain restaurants. Yes, I
yeah
agree so much because it's like you want to try like more variety of foods, and obviously you're not gonna like order all for yourself because it's
yeah
like it's easier you get one rice and it's like everything. But I understand for the fries, especially for someone that really likes fries, I would not want to
I
share it.
mean, you're like obsessed with fries, so maybe I'm talking
Yeah,
to the wrong person. Maybe a
exactly.
wrong
So
example.
I'm probably like on his side on that one, but I understand the rice thing and like get it because especially here the portions are so big. It's like you should
Yeah.
share. But yeah, for fast food and stuff like that, well, the French fries, I maybe want to keep mine. But
Yeah. But
dude, like
it was just like something that I like was used to. Like I think here I don't know unless it was like Asia. I don't remember going to any restaurant where they don't serve individual like meal because usually here like when you serve it's like a plate for yourself and that's all you're gonna eat, right?
mm,
Unless you get like appetizer you share.
appetizer, you know. Yeah,
Um
and everything is in restaurants, it's just so like, oh, okay, they come in, they ask you what you want to drink, right? And that's first, right? And
yeah,
then
yeah.
after it's your appetizer, then the main stuff. It's like everything is like so it, it's like
There's like a
well prepared.
system.
Yeah, a system. And you can't ask for the check. You have to wait for the host, like I mean the waitress to come to you. Like,
Yeah.
what if I'm in a rush? I love the fact that in Macau, yeah, like you get to, oh, my turn.
Ai
Go.
mai tan, lang lưỡi mai
Yeah.
tan, lang
Lên
lưỡi mai
rồi,
tan.
you to cũng ta pha đó,唔該. Like,
Because you literally just yell like how do you say lang lưỡi? Hey,
pretty lady.
pretty lady.
Pretty
Even if
lady,
they're
come
like
here.
middle aged or like older, you just say lang lưỡi, pretty lady.
Because you gotta call them pretty for them to come over. That's why.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
if you don't yell, they don't come to you. They just assume that you're fine, content, right?
yeah, and I think that's more efficient because it's like, you do you, and if a customer needs you, you go at it. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you know you need service until you say you need service?
Yeah, yeah,
But then
yeah.
here it's like, oh, the waitress hasn't come here like in a while, like I gotta tip her low or something like that. Like it's such a weird concept to me.
It's like
Just
their
ask
own
for her to
kind
come
of
over. Yeah.
yeah, it's the whole restaurant system. Like, I feel like it's like everything is connected with like tips and then having your own server. Like it was so
Yeah.
weird for me that like the first time, like when I sat in a restaurant and then the server would come, right, ask for drinks and then she'd bring drinks. But then like every 10 minutes she'd come and ask like, "Oh, how's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, how's it going?" I'm
How am
like,
I gonna enjoy my company and food when I have to like make sure that I have a proper answer if the waitress or
I'm
wait.
just like, I'm good. You don't have to come here every time.
Exactly. And then or I would get panicky, like thinking, do I actually need something? Because it's like, oh, when's the next time you're gonna come over here? It's like I don't wanna wait, like too long and then later it'll be too late for me to ask. I don't know. Like, jeez. So true. That's one thing
Yeah.
that really hated. Like, and it's so much more simpler back there. It's like you don't
hmm
wait. to just, you don't need so much. Yeah, it's just everything's faster with food, especially. Oh,
Yeah, and then I learned, right? Like after you learn, like, oh, the reason they keep coming is because for tips. I mean,
yeah. The
tips is
tip.
like, did you know that tips is like because servers get tips, that's why their hourly wage
Oh,
is really
low.
like low.
Yeah, and it's so stupid, honestly. It's like pay them a good amount of money, then so you don't have to don't worry about that type of stuff. It's like they have to
Yeah.
worry about like how they're talking to the customer. What if like the customer is just an asshole? Like what then? I honestly want to like tip bigger for them to not come over, and I'll be like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll tip you bigger if you come over whenever I ask you to.
Actually, I did have a friend. I asked a friend, and like her dad did that once, and I'm like, oh, cool, respect. Maybe I might do it next time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right? It's like I will tip you to come over for the bill, like after, okay? Like just don't come over. Like no, I'll text you when I need you.
I'll
Or,
text you when I need.
yeah, like put a bell, like if you need service, just
Yeah,
come on over. It's not like you're gonna tip any less. People are gonna tip anyways because they don't want to look like an asshole. You
yeah. I
know
mean, it's already part of the culture. You cannot not tip.
exactly. It's like it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, that culture. It's so weird. It's like it's just weird to me.
It's
Tipping.
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting that it became so mandatory. That's like, oh, if you don't tip, you're an asshole. Like, okay.
Yeah, you know those videos, like I don't know, I don't remember if they were videos or someone just told me like how like if you don't tip, like the way the server usually just kick you out, and they're like super rude because it's already expected of you, right? It's
Yeah, it's something like that. And it's just like, okay. Yeah, food is so much more expensive, like especially because of the
oh
tip, like
yeah, that too,
as
that too.
well.
On top of food, there's tax and tips.
Everything. Oh my
That's
God.
why you can't eat as often. Like go out. You know how in Macau we like there's so many different restaurants to try
So,
and diverse food, and it's not that expensive.
and you share the plates,
And you
it's like
share
you
food.
want to eat so good, especially like dim sum and stuff. Like, what else?
So there's food. Talking about restaurants.
MSG,
Uh,
where's the MSG?
where's the MSG? Bro, MSG
Honestly,
is looked down upon here. Like MSG is not good
yeah,
here.
because they made up their minds that it's like, oh my God, it's Asian. So, and we don't know what it is, but it's salt. It's just a different
Literally,
form of
it's just
salt.
flavored salt, seasoned salt. But
Ah,
then they talk, but then Chinese food is such a big thing here. Like they love it. Well, the American Chinese food
it's so
is
different. No,
it's
come
not
on.
the
What
same
what
thing.
what is General Tso's? Like,
What the
we have
heck is
General Tso.
is it General So, General Sao,
Is
General
it Zhengguan
Chow?
So? Like a so Zhengguan
Ah,
like,
So Fong.
chicken cookie, and then what more do they have? They have the kung pao chicken, which I
Kung Pao
still
chicken.
don't understand what the chicken is kung paoing.
It sounds dope though. Kung Pao.
Oh, kung pao,
Dun dun dun.
God. Honestly, though, some of the foods I feel like in like Chinese food reminds me of our canteen food. Like it's just you know,
I
no.
would say it's more flavor than our canteen food. Our canteen food is like there's so little salt
Yeah.
and no flavor.
Do you remember I mean, my favorite canteen food back in Macau, like in our school, was the fish fillet. Every time when they
Was it
have
the
the
fried one?
yeah, that's the only one I love. Every time they have that, it's like, oh my, it's like, I guess in here it would be like Taco Tuesday. But for me, it's like, oh my God, have fish fillet. Because that's the only thing fried. And then the others, all the other stuff is like, supposedly healthy food or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had Chinese food for canteen food.
The place that you could get like real Chinese food is like only down in the city, or I don't know other states, but I know New York, like
New York City for sure, but then it's like in Florida, not really. Maybe you can find like really nice, authentic Mexican food or even Cuban.
Yeah.
But I want a Chinese now. Every time I see a Chinese face like looking person, I'm like, ooh. I'm actually kind of like surprised because there's not much here really. Maybe in New Jersey.
Well, for sure. Here in New York, New Jersey, there's a lot more, a bigger Asian community here.
Yeah, way bigger. And it's like, I feel like whatever, like that one time I heard Cantonese. Like the only time I heard Cantonese in America was in New Jersey at a mall, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I really want to speak to him.
Bro,
Mayaman kaya ligo. I'm like, ah! Tyler was looking at me like, shouting. I'm like, what is Cantonese?
Yaman kaya ligo.
And I was just like looking and they didn't even hear me, but I'm just like, oh my god, it's Cantonese. I was just staring like, oh my god.
No, where was I yesterday? I think I forgot when, but it was just 2 days ago. I think I was on a mountain. There's like this popular like hill like hike, Bear Mountain near New York City, or like 30 minutes, an hour from New York City, and there was a lot of Chinese there, and then some Cantonese speaking people were like talking about how like, yeah, if you're tired, just go sit down, like blah blah, you know. And I don't know, I wanted to say something. I wanted to say like, oh, where are you guys from? Like in Cantonese. But then like, you know, to them we're foreigners. But then being here in America, we are foreigners. Where do we belong?
Right, no, that's so true. Oh my god, I am so. I guess so. That's exactly what like held me back from saying anything because I was like, oh my god, I really want to show off my Cantonese. But then I see them; they're all like masked up and like they look like they were tourists also, and it's like, well, foreigner looking person from America probably thinks I'm local and probably thinks I'm maybe undocumented because I'm brown. I don't know, who knows? Okay, because some Asians can be really racist.
Yeah.
So I was just like, no, I shouldn't shock them. I was also probably thinking too much, but it's like, you know, or sometimes I feel like I'm showing off, you know, like I don't know. You're right. I should show off.
I don't know. I have to think of something to say, just like out of the blue, whenever I'm like next to Cantonese speaking people.
Hey, 你好啊！哇，
你好，
你係喺邊度嚟㗎？
你係喺邊度嚟㗎
？Oh, that's horrible already.
They're gonna hear your accent in Cantonese, like you're.
They're gonna be like, what? Hey, how did you learn those words? You know, like, but there's an accent. 你哋喺邊度過嚟？係啦。
你哋 how to say where you're from？
你係咪香港嚟㗎？你哋
係咪香港嚟？係咪廣東人啊？你哋
廣東人？
is it 廣 or 廣東人？
廣東人。
廣東人。
你哋係咪漢族人啊？
漢族人 ？What is that？
I think
like the dynasty we learned in our.
Do you speak Cantonese? I don't know. Whatever. It is. I don't know.
But it definitely feels. It touches a part of my heart when I hear Cantonese here in America. Like, oh,
even in the movies, right? Like, there's Cantonese. I'm like, oh, that's Cantonese. I understood that. So, man, I remember when Mandarin became like more and more popular, like when we were in Macau, you know, because I feel like when we were learning Cantonese, it was like, oh, Cantonese is way better than Mandarin. It's like, you know, the more sophisticated Chinese. But then now it's like Mandarin is the way, so it's everywhere. And I feel like I wish I knew Mandarin more. Like then Cantonese, but it's hard. Like, I mean, I get that I can maybe mimic some words in Mandarin because from our Cantonese, right? But I wish I learned the more important Chinese.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, you hear it all the time and it's like, oh, I can actually show off my Mandarin here. Or it's just like,
Yeah. But then like when I came here and then they're like, yeah, you speak Chinese, right? I'm like, yeah, I speak Chinese, and then every time there's like a Mandarin speaking person or like something, they're like, yeah, communicate with them. I'm like, I don't really speak Mandarin too well. Like I
It's
can
so
understand.
hard. Yeah.
I
Or
can
like,
speak
can you write it
slowly.
down? I can read.
Yeah, exactly, because the writings is exactly the same, right? Well, not exactly. It was simplified and traditional, but
But we learned that the books for like in simplified, right? Because sometimes like
yeah,
we're
some of
from
them.
China, right? Yeah, and
That's
I
true.
remember I remember like I knew how to read it just because of that. It's pretty
That's
nice.
true.
It's a good skill.
Um, but
But
yeah, I think Mandarin definitely is a more useful Chinese than Cantonese. Like, I don't even know how many people in the world, like, how many percent of the world speaks Cantonese.
no, yeah. One thing, obviously, is like the biggest thing is that I experience way less discrimination.
Oh my
Actually,
god, yeah.
no discrimination at all, I would say. Like, I feel like they're so tippy toe and eggshells around me here, you know. But it's like in Macau, they have zero filter because I was a minority there, considered a
Yeah.
minority. And even though I was born there, lived my whole life there, but you know, there's a law there that says even though you were born there, doesn't mean you can get the resident card unless your parents have or they're of Portuguese descent or blah 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 blah, blah. But very complicated stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
so
you
all
have
my
like a
life,
Filipino passport, right? And usually that's not looked up upon in Macau, right?
oh no, because mostly the people that hold the Filipino passport do labor jobs like cleaning and
Babysit.
um, like literally the okay. So I my first job in Macau was a marketing assistant, which I got very luckily in my opinion because you know through networking and stuff and through like suggestions from friends to someone like it was a blessing. It was great. And I worked at a nightclub, which I know doesn't sound too amazing, but it's like at that time it was like, oh my god, I have a job, you know, that's
Yeah.
not require me cleaning.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah.
after that, yeah, like the nightclub like closed down. And so I got transferred to the housekeeping department as an admin, which I have zero, you know, experience about. Obviously, I never worked at a hotel, but I was but because I speak Chinese and like that really like, you know, all right, we cannot let go of this Filipino type of situation. So they let me stay to be the admin, which I tried to transfer to another job because like to another department because it was so stressful. And the like supervisor that was like right over me, she's, you know, I asked like if I could transfer anywhere else than how like the housekeeping or even hotel side because I just don't know anything about hotels. And it's like
Yeah.
I speak Chinese, like kind of like they literally put me anywhere else, but they're like, I'm sorry, we don't have quotas for other department because you need like apparently you can only hire like one no two foreigners per resident they hire. So if they let go
Per.
of a
Oh,
resident,
okay.
you have to let go of two like foreigners, you know. So
Oh
that's like a
shoot.
big deal. That's why they kiss ass to residents because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they
yeah.
can't keep the labor workers if not. So a lot of the fun jobs, which I do this because it's like, you know, like it's like marketing jobs and those jobs that people want to do, you know, people the jobs that needs um you know a degree and like I have a degree but it's
You
like
have a
I'm a
degree.
resident so I can't get those jobs. So it's like I even like try to apply for like a florist but I'm underqualified for that because I don't
Just
know, I don't
because
have the
of your
power.
like. hmm
Yeah, and so and you have no idea what the HR lady even said to me. Oh, she was like, she said, you're you should feel like lucky that you have a not like you don't have a cleaning job. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're Filipino and you should feel lucky that you are not even have you don't have to clean. I'm like, I was like teary.
There's
I was
like
crying.
in
I
there
was just
in
like,
there there's like the two type of discrimination, right? Like one is that you're not a resident in Macau, and second is that you look Filipino or like you
mhm.
look like you're like dark skinned, right?
Yeah, I didn't like that supervisor. It's because like big reason was because she asked me to change my nail color, right? Because like it was this beige color.
Yeah.
for this house, like, and they're like, oh, sorry, you can't have nail polish in for housekeeping. Like, even though I'm behind, like I'm in the office, like no one can see me, like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
behind, so it's like I don't get it. And so they're like, but I saw the rule book, you can have neutral colors, and she's like, no, you have to take it off by tomorrow, or you'll have a warning letter. And then a local girl came in the next month, and then she had her nails painted with like graphics, like literal graphics. And then she
Yeah.
was like, oh, so pretty to her. And I was like, I saw that. I remember thinking to myself, whatever, I'm gonna leave. Right? Yeah, I was already, and that's when I was like, I'm this
She's
place.
just
I really want
abusing her
to.
power.
Exactly. When I left, like, because they knew that I was going to America,
Yeah.
she like was like, oh, don't forget me when you're in America. For real.
I studied here for 2 years, like in college, and I was actually really nervous because it's like, oh, American college, like I have to work hard and not fail, right? I have to like um make all this money and like all this moving here worth it. But
Mhm.
like I stepped into the classroom, right? And then like people were super chill, some with their headphones on. I'm like, okay, okay, it's more relaxed. And as the semester goes, like this is super chill, like super easy. Maybe it was also because it's my major. Like I know my major isn't too difficult. Like it's not sciencey. It's mass communication. So
Because you
like,
like
even
it and have an interest of it, and
yeah, I do. But like when I was in Macau, it was like there was so much to do. There was a lot of homework and like a lot of essays to write. And I don't know if this is just because like my school isn't like too fancy, but I don't know. Like it's just like
no, I feel like it's the education in Macau is just so slow. And they think everything is like by the book. And it's like you do this, you do that, and like you will succeed if you follow these rules.
yeah, we're
But then
definitely more like
structured.
structured, but also narrow and
Mhm.
how do you say rigid, not so
Yeah,
flexible.
you're right. And here it's more for like you you find your way to get to this knowledge. Like it's more like experience, more. I feel like
Yeah,
I don't know. You're right.
I think more and more here it's easier to accept kids that don't go to college, but in Macau it's like even for me like I took 3 years gap year before I went to college, right? And
Yeah.
like I remember very clearly like one of those last days in high school, um my classmates would ask me like, oh, where are you going to study, like where did you, no, not where are you going to study, where did you apply to, right? Assuming that I am going to college for
Yeah.
sure. And then they're like, oh yeah, where did you apply to? I'm like, nowhere. And like their faces was like, what, you didn't apply to anything? We're graduating soon. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not right now. I want a break. Like it's less acceptable there than it
No,
is
yeah.
here.
It's good. Like I like the fact that you can like take a break. I remember like I remember I didn't even want to go to college, but it's like because it was like one of the things like I could do to stay in Macau longer because the student visa.
Right, because
And I mean, in the long run, it's a good idea, obviously, because nowadays you need a bachelor degree for any type of job or whatever. But it's like, like I never thought that you'd need to get a college degree right away. Like if you can, like I would if I could have, I would totally get a gap year, obviously. But yeah, I feel like people that do that are just scared that you know what, they say that because they realize that they're not going to have you around. That's why they're like, oh, you didn't apply to any colleges, so meaning you probably won't be here. You know, you're leaving, aren't you? Like usually people leave. That's why, because Macau is a
yeah,
place
that's
where
true.
people will leave.
People just leave Macau.
Yeah, people
That's
leave
true.
Macau.
Also, just for us, because we're both foreigners in Macau, we also experience Macau in a completely different
No, yeah, very different.
angle.
So different.
Like
Like
we're not completely local.
we're literally not locals of anything.
We don't belong anywhere.
We don't belong
We're the
anywhere.
outcast.
That's called the podcast girls that don't belong anywhere.
The outcast.
The outcast. I love that. Oh my god, we're the outcasts. I love it. Okay.
It's
Hey.
like, I don't know where to call home. It's like, okay, I'm in Macau. Sure, it's my home. I've lived there the longest time, but I will always be looked at as a foreigner.
Always. Me
Also
too.
because I do have an accent in Cantonese, even though
Well, maybe now, but
no, when I came back from Europe and I was with friends and they're like, wow, your accent. I mean, I know if you're gone for a long time and you come back and
you see, people. I remember people like always say like, "Oh, Americans are so mean for like making fun of people that can't speak perfect English or something like that." But
yeah.
people do it in other countries too, like when they're trying to
Yeah.
speak like like Chinese, and they're like, "Oh my God, they called me LA, huh? They called me what?" It's like,
Yeah, I mean a lot of like yeah, like these races of discrimination, like it happens in China too, like in Macau. Like I think, like
yeah, it happens
it's
it's
like
just bad people in places. Like it's not a specific place or a specific race. It's just people that were raised badly.
yeah.
I feel like that's like a main reason why I watch anime. It's because it shows you how these villains become villains,
Mm.
especially One Piece and Naruto. You really like attached to it after. It's like, oh my God, that's why you're bad. Society made you like this. But yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
think here people just like to make everything politics.
Oh,
Everything
so
political.
true. But then it's like Macau, there's no politics because it's all communism. Ha ha ha. You
Yeah.
have to say.
Even though we get to vote, it's still like,
It's like, all right, you get to vote, but here's some money, like for you to like not complain every year. No.
I hope you don't get in trouble for this.
Oh my God. Yeah. But I feel like, yeah, in America, just all of that. That's just so weird. The politics thing is it's
Yeah.
so weird and so American. That's something that we cannot like butt
I
against.
just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
I
no.
know like having,
Yeah.
knowing, understanding, awareness, all of that is good, but it's like if everything is political, it's just
I just feel like as outcasts, like we cannot like get politically like involved with anything, like especially even out in our countries, just because we've never lived there too. Like we don't know what's going on, and
yeah.
yeah, like and here for the red and blue, I just feel like they need to come up with a third color.
I'll be in the third color.
So right, it's
You'll
like
find me there.
yeah. What is the third color? It's white though, because
White.
red, white, blue. So the third one is white, but that's kind of racist. Or is white flag means you give up?
Yeah, you give up. Tao Hong.
Tao Hong. Word of the day, Tao Hong.
Tao Hong.
Tao Hong.
By the way, that's
white
a give
flag.
up in Cantonese, guys.
Giving
There
up
you
in
go.
Cantonese.
Cantonese 101. Lei ho.
So Lei Ho, how are you? That's why.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Specifically, it actually, if you translate straightly, is you good?
You good?
Yeah, right. Because Lei
You
Ho.
good?
You good, bro? Technically. I like that. You good?
And you don't say